Oh, we're on the grind this morning. People seem to like the walk and talks, man. And you know what? Why not? Why not? Here's the deal, man. There's no script. There's nothing set in stone. It's just me outdoors with this incredible blue sky. Look at that, man. And look, man, I just got done enjoying the premiere with all the great people that tune into my channel, the Michael Devin interview. And man, I did a whole walk and talk, talking about a segment on there about how he got pulled into the vocal booth with David Coverdale himself. What an epic experience that was. What an incredible interview. Because I just had a guy in the comments and he said, man, your channel is like therapy for me. And that comment just hit me right in the heart, dude. Because here's the thing, man. We're musicians, right? We don't have retirement. We don't have health care. We don't have, we don't get to sit down and talk about our feelings. People don't really know what we go through. People that live regular lives, that work corporate jobs, they have no idea. They think we're just out playing gigs and having fun and clowning around all the time. And yeah, man, there is a lot of that. There is a lot of that. But man, it's an incredibly tough and difficult lifestyle that most people have no idea what it takes to be a musician and how hard it is. And so, man, for the people that tune in and watch this channel, some of them are tuned in so they can vicariously hear about the rock and roll lifestyle, what it's like to be on the road, or what it's like to have been on the Sunset Strip in the 80s, or touring with a country act or a rock band, or hear these incredible interviews on my channel with these great musicians and them telling their stories, man. It's an incredible thing to be able to have this platform, to be able to give people this information. And like I said, you might be living vicariously by watching this channel, or you might be somebody that's experienced it yourself, even if it's just at a local level, or maybe maybe you did get to tour. There's a lot of guys. Look, man, there's a lot of guys that watch this channel. They're guys that I know from touring, guys that, were fellow musicians in Nashville. And they're basically tuning in to hear what I'm going to talk about next. And that's an incredible thing, man, because they all know everything that I'm saying is reality. Everything that I talk about on this channel is the real stuff, man. And again, I could be one of those channels that's only doing demos, only showing how to play certain licks, and look, I'll probably do some of that stuff down the road. Maybe I'll put together my own guitar course, the Bad Brad's No BS guitar course. Maybe I'll do something like that. But in the meanwhile, man, I think some of the most important lessons that I learned in life and that musicians learn every day aren't on the instrument. They aren't notes or scales. They're not licks. They're not pentatonics. They're not chord tones. They're not which pedal to use when. It's not how to dial in your tube screamer. It's not how to set up your instrument. The most important things that I can talk about on this channel are how to dodge some of the pitfalls that most of us had to get, the hard way. I mean, just simple things, dude. Even if you're a teetotaler and you don't drink and you've been married for 30 years and all that, but man, how do you overcome stage fright? How do you deal with playing shows and people screaming and all that and trying to get to sleep on a tour bus? How do you unwind? And look, man, these are some of the toughest things, man. Like I said, anybody can teach you how to play an instrument, but not everybody is telling you how you get gigs. This is why when I do an interview and someone starts talking about interviewing for this gig or whatever, I'll often have them, wait a minute. Let's go over that again. So you did this and you showed up for the interview and you knew all the material and you did, how to navigate these things and get these gigs. People are curious. How do you get a gig, in Whitesnake? And just having Michael Devin on the channel, and if you haven't seen that interview, you need to see it. That's an incredible, incredible story, right? People want to know how you do these things. There is no clear path. You can't go to a temp job service and get a gig with a touring act. You don't graduate from music school and all of a sudden start getting gigs. You would probably, if you're a good player, and this happens a lot. Nobody's going to tell you this. But if you go to a music school like, say, Belmont, in Nashville, if you're a good player and you start playing with guys, in your class and jazz lab and all these other things, people are going to start to take notice. And there's a good chance, I'm sure it happens, because look, what do they tell you when you go to school? Look to your left, look to your right. Chances are that only one of you will still be here when the graduation day comes. And that's very true. But a lot of guys get plugged in going to a school like that. People see that they have a talent, they're young, and opportunities come. And sometimes they start small. In fact, most of the time, the opportunities start small, right? And as those opportunities, each one could lead you, that gig that you think is a piece of crap, and the music sucks, and the pay sucks, and the place you're playing sucks. One of those guys on that gig could be the guy that when he sees you do a good job anyway, despite all of those facts, when he sees that you're putting in the work and doing that, regardless of the situation, people take notice of that. And that's how later on, when they start thinking about, well, who can I call? I'm in a band right now and we need a guitar player immediately. Oh yeah, there's this new kid in town. He's in college, but let me give him a call. A lot of guys get pulled, out of school. They just find themselves all of a sudden plugged in and they go, man, my scholarship ran out. I don't have any more money to continue school. I've got all these gigs coming in. So I guess I just start working. Right? Now, I would always encourage people to finish school so that you're not dependent on filling out your calendar every day to survive. man, that's just part of it. That's just part of life. And you know, if you get plugged in like that, and it's like I said, it starts with a crappy gig, that first crappy gig, and it might take you a few years of doing low gigs, and there'll be some good gigs that'll pop up and stuff like that. The first time you go out on the road, you might learn some really tough lessons. If you've been watching this channel, and maybe you've seen some of us veterans give our testimony of things that, you know, not to do. If the front man for the group that you're playing with is an alcoholic, that doesn't mean you've got to pound booze as well to feel part of the thing, man. Don't fall into that vice just because you're with a group that's all of a sudden, because here's the deal, man. They're veterans. The artist is the boss. If he screws up a show, well, he's got to deal with the booking agent and all that, but ultimately, he's the reason why people buy tickets. But if you screw up the show, if you make a big blunder on stage, that could be your ass. Could literally be your ass. So, man, don't get pulled into, and here's the thing, man. If you're a side man, you know, they're always gonna, oh, I love you, man, and you're great, and everybody feels like friends and all that. But man, people can come in to an organization, and for them, it's a chess game. For them, it's a power play. For them, they want to be on top. I've seen guys sit on a tour bus and start doing the numbers in their head and talking out loud. Well, wow, we must be getting this much a show, and I'm only getting paid this much. How can I increase my pay? And they start looking at the band leader and go, oh, band leader's making more money. Tour manager's making more money. Maybe I can take over those two positions. And then I'm making way more money. Then I'm making 6 figures instead of 5 figures, mid to low 5s. There's people plotting and scheming, man. Don't think they're not. If you think they're not, you could find yourself on the outs, because all they've got to do is say, hey, I don't like this guy, or I don't like that guy. You find yourself sitting at home, dude. You can't trust people, man. And you're only as good as your last show. These are hard lessons that most people learn the hard way. And so for people that tune in to this channel to hear this information, man, it's invaluable, dude. It's invaluable. This is stuff. This is the raw, real stuff, unscripted stuff that people need to hear. It's a serious game of chess sometimes out there on the road. And you've got pawns, and that you could say the pawns are probably sidemen. And then you've got the tour manager and the artist, and they're kings or queens or whatever. And then you got everybody else, and the knights and everything else. Man, if you don't learn to play the game, if you don't know the rules of the game before you go out there and what could happen and the pitfalls and all that before you go out there, you could find yourself sitting at home alone and wondering what the hell just happened.